Hello, gorgeous woman, all the way in Portugal right now.
That's right. And sorry, we got peeps.
Well, it was just the universe giving you high five. So, for those of you watching this, Kat, oh my goodness, I might just stare at you instead of do the talk today. Kat, she's already done a testimonial, when she first came out of Soul to Soul. But the reason I'm bringing this divine soul back to chat with you is because she has some very exciting news. And not only that, there's been a palpable energy shift in Kat from the woman that I met when we actually first had a conversation. So I just want to call that out right now before you even speak. You are emitting so much feminine energy. And I don't mean sometimes when you hear the word feminine, you think, oh, just because she's got her hair out. And no, it's not. Yes, she's got beautiful hair and yes, she's looking gorgeous, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's an energy. You're just sitting in all your delicious being energy. So listen, I'm going to hand it over to you to come in and share with us what's changed since you left Soul to Soul.
Well, it's been almost a year.
Since
I did, yeah, it'll be a year in another month almost. I think it's just over a month since I signed up for Soul to Soul. It was August of last year. And I think the biggest shift is that when I had started watching your videos and was thinking about chatting with you, I felt like I was turning my wheels in a lot of places. I just felt like I was so jammed into this pattern of not really having what I want, being so close and getting so many places, getting so far in so many places, but just not feeling like I was free to kind of have, the relationship and have the life that I wanted to live, which was abroad and just kind of doing these things that write this screenplay, things that I was really close to doing,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was it was a rough little rut to say the least when I first joined. Yeah.
And specifically being such a powerhouse, that about yourself, but that I'm guessing would have made it even more frustrating as to you'd already done over 10 years of work on yourself. You weren't sitting there just reading the odd book. You were in it. Yeah. So what was that feeling for you knowing that you are doing stuff, you are trying things? It's not like you're just sitting there waiting for it to come to you, but you still weren't getting traction. I remember on our first call, when it came to the heart space, you were like, it's still not open, Lucy. No matter what I'm doing, all the other stuff is helping, no doubt, but there just wasn't that heart opening. So what was that like to be sitting in that place?
To tell you the truth, I didn't even know that was a place to sit in. When you talked about the heart space with me, and I remember the first time I talked to Anam on the phone, I didn't even know how to get to that point. I couldn't even, I'm like, where are you talking about going here? That was probably the roughest part, is that because I'm a very masculine woman, and that I'm an Aries. I get shit done, and I'm always making moves. I have my job. I'm a producer, so my job is to make things get from point A to point B or to point C, whatever. It was always going.
Yeah.
And so to not have the areas that really mattered to me most have traction and still feeling like I was turning my wheels, it just felt I put so much blame on myself. And I think that's one of the biggest things in Soul to Soul, is that being kind to myself instead of being my worst enemy. Even when I have rough days, I just had a bit of a rough day yesterday, but it's I come back to, you're okay, you got this. What can we do to address this? What can we do to make this better for us? Us meaning me and myself, the unit. You know what I mean? Here and here, going, okay, what do we actually need? Okay, we need to get some rest early. We need to check out. We need to, do some rage pages, get our thoughts out of our brain, and just really just love ourselves. So it was kind of, I just didn't know that part really needed to exist and coexist with the part of me that was already so strongly built, because I had been doing so much work, and it was just in my nature to work hard. I kind of knew that the law of attraction existed, and I knew that when you wanted to create something, you'd manifest it by making it happen. But I didn't realize how many of my thoughts were counteracting that, and actually they were, you know, knocking out the positive. I would say all this positive stuff, but then the internal dialogue was like, but you suck, you know, like, and so
God,
it just,
Kat, like, I'm getting chills because that's really profound, right? For those of you listening, this is why you are literally banging your head against a wall. Some of you, or if you're not, you feel like doing that. None of us physically do that, I hope, but it really is that energy of like, what else am I supposed to do? Because I'm doing all the things. And that's what you said, I'm here to make it happen. I'm someone that's do. But what was missing was the being energy and the having your heart and your self energy. And that, when you said I'm talking about me, us, that's how I speak to myself. It's us. What do you need, Lucy? And I more than ever, being with my husband and my baby girl, you know, more than ever, once you start to, which you're going to share with us your big news in a second, but once you do start to make it, it's more than you more than ever need to be able to know how to hold yourself as sacred. And it's this honoring part of you that's completely shifted, Kat. Just the way that you are in the world. It's not like you have to prove anything, whereas before it was this proving and needing validity outside of you. That's just not in your vortex right now. It just isn't in you. It's not there. It's this softness. It's this, you're just so receptive and available right now with your energy, like you're right here. And it's stunning. And that's why you have this juicy news to share with us. So
well, I had created in Soul to Soul that I would meet my soulmate in 6 months. You know, I had given myself a time slot. Right now I moved to Portugal. I moved into my apartment, my dream apartment, which is a complete manifestation, by the way. Like, this apartment alone is an epic creation. I'm not settling for close enough. But I moved into this apartment just 2 weeks before the pandemic. But in October, when I had finished Soul to Soul, I had written my mission statement, which is obviously something that we write in the very beginning, and then make sure it speaks true to like what we really want in a partner. And I had given myself 6 months to write it, to have this happen. And I put that by my birthday, we will be together and blah, 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 like creating this life together. And I even kind of got a little slack from people because I was moving, and they were like, why aren't you dating? You know, like what you're sick, you gave yourself this time period, like, why aren't you dating? And about 5 days before my birthday, I got really intentional about online dating because we were in the middle of this pandemic. And I was like, you know what? I got nothing else to do. Might as well like really hone in on being really super intentional. Yeah. And I met my person. Yeah. Yeah, I met my dude. It's been 3 months now, and granted, it's meeting the love of your life in a pandemic, but it's like probably the greatest time to meet someone because all you get to do is talk about what really matters to you and what's important, because, you know, that's the time that you have to just connect and be honest. And I think what was different this time is that I just got so intentional with my dating. It was not like, it wasn't like if anybody rubbed me even a little bit the wrong way, I was like, next. Like, it was like, this is my show. You know, I'm picking and I get to say how this conversation goes. And it was never like that before. It was always like, oh, do they want to talk to me? Like, you know, and it just there was no power in those conversations.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. And I want to be clear here, when you're watching this, it's not as simple as saying, cool, I'm just going to go and get really intentional and put out there what I want. It doesn't work. Like, just so you know, you're like, oh, well, maybe I could try and do this myself. Knock yourself out. By all means, try that. But that's not going to change anything internally. What we're talking about and why Kat has monumentally shifted, something she wasn't able to shift in 10 years. She was able to shift in 8 weeks. And then obviously maintaining the work. It's beyond the 8 weeks. It's forever that we continue with this mindset work and with this process, right? It's not like once and done. No, it's the fact that you were like willing to go deep within yourself to heal those parts of your little girls and the parts of Kat that didn't feel enough, where she had to overcompensate. And that's actually the process, which I'm not going to get into right now, but I just want to be really clear, because I don't want you girls feeling misled that it's like, oh, cool, well, I'll just, you know, make sure on dating now that if I don't like someone, I'll just be like, next. because
No.
that's gonna come from your head, and that comes from that bravado place of, you know, you hear a lot of women say, oh, I don't think so, dude, and it's like, bye. But a lot of that can be very defensive and very much like a false sense of worth, where it's like, I know I'm a good catch and da 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 da, and it's like, well, no, what you're sharing, Kat, is it's living inside your heart, this worthiness, this deservability. And that's why when you do let people go that aren't right, you're just like, oh no, next. But it's coming from that really heart grounded, knowing place. And I think that's what stands out as you were just sharing then. It's you, really, it takes courage to do soul to soul. And, you know, Kat has got that energy. Like, I just can't tell you how much she's shifted. When she came in, she was like, right, and I'm on it. And she was trying to do it like a lot of women come in, they just want to get it right, want it, like, come on, let's do this. And as I've watched Kat in this process, and I got tough with her at times because I love her, but I'm like, Kat, sister, let's get you deeper, let's get you deeper, let's get you deeper. And honestly, watching it now, Kat has just blossomed into, I guess the best way to describe it, Kat, is you finally were ready to just release all of those masks and those ways of being that you had used for so long that were keeping you, like, keeping what you wanted at arm's length when it came to the heart. And now you're just like, oh no, I don't need that anymore.
Let me be clear. I still have to get those out of the way. A lot of the, like,
Right,
you know,
we all do.
like, right. That's why it's like, it's not that, like, it's not like it's a fixed phenomenon, right?
Nope.
Because like, I have my mindset journal like next to me all times on my desk. Like, it is the most pivotal part of my morning. I spend an hour by myself, making sure that I take that time for myself, creating about my day. Like, before I found my guy, I was writing what it looked like every day. You know, like, I want my amazing supportive partner who loves me. I want my healthy body. I want my beautiful, healthy babies. I want financial abundance, a film career that, you know, blah, blah, blah. All these things, like, but it was every single day, like, creating this for myself, living like it was already happening for me, which was never, ever something that even existed before the soul to soul process. You know, like, I never, ever came from the, like, future Kat and what future Kat wants in life. It was always scrambling to pick up the pieces as I was just trying to get by from a very doing standpoint, you know? So this is creation from, in its practice, like from starting at my heart and going, okay, what feels right? How do I behave in this situation? How do I make sure that I'm sitting where my values is the most important thing, and that I'm worth this conversation or whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And it's still a very ongoing process.
Yeah.
And I can say that with real, you know, like, I'm excited about that though, because I get to share that with my person, and I get to share that with the people around me that I'm not, you know, I don't have it all figured out, and I don't try to have it all figured out. And I think that that's something that is new and exciting. You know what I mean?
100%. And what I remember from none of us have it all figured out, by the way. Like, but what it's about is it's not about, like, sitting here living our life waiting for something to change. It's about taking tangible action, getting the right support. Because before, you were in the dance, you were in the game of, like, attracting in the guys that you knew weren't necessarily ready to commit, weren't ready to settle down. You'd overanalyze it, and you expected it to fall apart at any given moment. So that's what you had to really work on, is to go, how do I go from being the understudy or the extra in this love space to actually being the chosen one, to being the one that men show up for, to being treasured and desired and loved and supported. And so it's this area of support, Kat, where this is the vulnerability piece, where you're able to soften and go, it's actually powerful for me to let someone support me. It's powerful for me to let someone see when I am scared or when I am insecure with where this relationship is going. That's the biggest turning point I've seen with you, is to not act like you got it all together and that you're just, like, going to show the good parts. That's inauthentic. It was about you having enough courage, because it takes so much courage to be authentic. It's crazy as for our human experience that it does, but it does, because when we go through life and we have experiences happen, as children, we start to build this coping mechanism so that we don't get hurt again. We get hurt, we get rejected, and we're like, not doing that again. And so that's what I witnessed with you, Kat, was this willingness and courage to go, well, I know what it's like to put the big barriers up. And what I want to experience is what it's like for me to actually let someone see me, like the real me. Yeah. And you're now doing this in every area of your life. I know that this is not just in love. I know that this is in friendships, in the way that you run your business, in all levels.
Yeah. It's exciting. Like, I mean, if you had told me, like, it's funny, the investment for Soul to Soul was scary for me because I had never taken that much of a risk on myself, you know. Mm-hmm. And any investment is scary when you're putting yourself on the line, you know. Is this going to work for me?
Yes.
I remember being really terrified because, you know, I've never put that much effort into really putting my life on the line for something like this. And I would pay millions of dollars to have what I have now, just knowing that it was all inside of me all along. I just needed someone to smack me around a little until I got clear on it. I think that's the, you know what I mean? The thing that was missing is that there was nothing to fix. Cause you know, like I didn't, and I still have to remind myself of that, you know, all the time, you know, and it's so much more amazing to come from that place of not knowing and trying to be able to figure it out from being authentic than it is to think I've got it all together, but then be dying inside that I don't have it. Like, why don't I have what I want? You know, it's just a very different conversation in my brain. I think I'm excited. However many days I have left, I have like 100% of my life left, you know, whatever that is. And I'm just excited that I get to live from this space instead of living from the space where I had a loss of power in the places that mattered to me most.
I mean, just so epic, so much of what you just said, because this is not about fixing you because you're not broken. What I will add to that though is many of you are sitting in a broken frequency. You think of yourselves as broken. You think of yourselves as someone that is too far gone. I have a lot of women that do Soul to Soul. They're like, wow, I really didn't think that anything would be able to help me. Like I just thought I was damaged goods. And either that's been told to you. I've had women that have had therapists flat out tell them that, sorry, can't help you. Or you've picked that up just from what you've interpreted. And it's a crock of shit. You're not broken. No matter what's happened to you, you're not broken. You're not damaged goods, but your belief systems are damaged. The way that you relate to yourself is damaged. And this is about you coming and healing those paradigms and shifting them so that you can awaken to your brilliance and magnificence and be like, oh, hello. Oh, I was betraying myself. Yes, we've been abandoned, but we also abandon ourselves. We betray ourselves. And this is about saying no more of that. You got to get to a place where Kat did, which was zero tolerance for putting herself last, putting herself in the, this isn't going to happen for me category. And now she's like, oh no, everything happens for me. Thanks very much. Yes, and more, please.
Yeah. My underlying conversation this is the grossest thing I ever admit to anyone, and people don't believe me when I say it, but the underlying conversation that I had in my head was, you're worthless and disgusting. Like that was the undertone of like what I walked around with at the end of the day. And it came in different places in my life, and it came higher and lower at different times, but it never really went away. It was never something that completely left me until now, because now I create that I'm valued and that I'm worthy and that I deserve the best and that I'm supported deeply by the universe and I have the courage to follow my heart and that I'm strong every day. And it's like, I don't give myself the opportunity to go back into that low vibration because it's just not.
So who you are.
It just doesn't work with what I'm up to anymore. It's not something I can use as an excuse to keep me from reaching my goals and having my dreams anymore, because that was what it was doing. It was just that conversation was just keeping me at a low frequency, essentially.
Yeah, well, it was, and it's victimhood energy. It's like you put yourself in a corner and then you believe it. You're like, I can't have that. And it's got scarcity all through it as well. This impacts our bank accounts when we feel like we're not the chosen one or the good things don't actually happen for us. We've got to work really, really hard to get it. And it's the opposite of that. So, really you said your connection to the universe is really strengthened, but it's your connection, the way that you support you, that is what is radiating across this screen right now. So Kat, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I'm still watching this space. I said, before we jumped on, I said, we're going to be bringing you back when these little bambinos come in, a little soul to soul celebration of the babies.
What a celebration that will be. So soon.
It's already done, but I'm just so elated for you, Kat, truly, to see you a year on in this really beautiful, heart-connected relationship, which has so much vulnerability. It's brought me to tears when we've had past conversations. It's not a quick cut.
It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but it's not
nothing I've ever experienced before. I thought I had, and granted, I've been with guys that were great guys, but nothing like the space I'm in now, where I just get to be 150% myself, And I think, like he said to me one time, he was like, I could never go back. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, I could never go back to where I'm not like this all the time, where I'm not being myself, like where I'm not expressing myself. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right, man. Like I could, like I got this new best friend. I miss him every time I don't talk to him, And it's like, it's just this different experience. I've never felt this connected to a person in such a short amount of time from such a sacred space. So it's pretty great.
Well, I just want to round out by saying, Kat, it's truly, from me witnessing you didn't just finish Soul to Soul and then be like, where is he? You know that it goes beyond the 8 weeks, and you kept taking a stand for yourself to go, yep, I'm going to keep doing the work. I'm going to keep showing up for Kat because I'm not done yet. Yeah. And that was exactly the same as my path. I'd done so much work, and even after 10 years, same story, I was like, how is this still not happening yet? And I was like, I am going to keep doing the work until I start having these things in my life show up. Otherwise, it's just technical, right? It's just technically we're doing the work, whereas you've now really integrated the law of attraction and actually being able to manifest in real time. So, yay! So good to chat with you.
Sorry?
So good to chat with you and to celebrate this.
Thank you. I'm really just super excited to look forward to the future and to keep creating from this space. Yeah. It's pretty great.
Reach out to Kat, you girls sort of really resonating with her story. You can go back and watch her other testimonial as well, because that's also really inspiring. But I just wanted to bring her on to share with you that a year is not a long time. A year on, she is now with the love of her life. And it's always divine timing too. It's always, you think you're ready, but it's about being intentional, but also just going, and what else do I need to soften? And what else do I need to transmute? Because then when he comes in, you're like, thank God he didn't come in a year ago, because you wouldn't have been ready.
Well, the funny thing is that he and I work in the same industry, and even just being in Portugal for a couple of months, we were at 2 of the same big events in the same place. And then we also lived in New York City at the same time, which I find incredibly fascinating. When I lived in New York City, I had just gotten a divorce, and I was in a very, very, very different place, and had just recently even discovered that the law of attraction was a thing and had no idea how to use it. And it was in a really rough place for myself. So I just think about how many times there have been times where we floated around each other's worlds.
Yes.
We say that often. It's like, man, imagine if we had met 6 months ago. Imagine if we had met 5 years ago. What was, So it's just had to happen now. And it's exactly what I asked for. Like, I came into this program being like, it's time for me. Like, my life is starting now, and my life is going, and now my life is just going. It's exactly how I created it, finally got what I needed to get. And it was there.
Really take that medicine in, girls. Kat's no different to you in that you're watching this. You have gifts inside of you that need to be realized. You also have dreams inside of you that you've shelved and you put yourself in the corner. The difference with Kat is that even though, and when she came in, she also had something going on behind the scenes, which was costing her money. So it was not a comfortable time for her to invest. She'd just been burnt by another deal. I remember that on our call, and I was like, Kat, irrelevant. Do you want to step up and change your life? Yes or no? And she goes, fuck it, I'm doing it. But she had all the reasons, all of the very, very justifiable reasons to go, well, oh, it's just not the right time. But then she obliterated that and went, no, it's now. And this is now what has paid off for her by just calling it and going, no, I am fucking ready to do what it takes.
There's a few times in my life, I think, where that's happened. And I just want to say to anybody that has that, it's that gut feeling that you know, when we say like feel into your heart, it's like those are those moments when you feel something that seems really, really scary, but you're like, if I don't do this, I might not actually change my life. Like there's been very few times I can call out the most pivotal times in my life on probably one hand that's happened now, you know, and that was one of those moments that it was like, if I do this, this is going to open a new door that has never been opened. And I can't imagine what life would look like if I hadn't. I would hopefully be here, you know, because that was what I was trying to do, but who knows, you know, who even knows what would be where
you wouldn't be there by now if you didn't take action with this. There's no way. Like
I mean like in Portugal, but I probably, because that was part of the plan, not having this experience of myself and taking myself on from a place of love as opposed to just getting things done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it would just be a completely different experience of my life. You know,
I had the same thought, Kat. I literally go, wow, if I hadn't taken a stand for myself, I don't want to think about the path that I'd be on right now. It wouldn't be like this, and I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you. So it's almost scary, isn't it, to go, it's like sliding doors. Where would I be if I didn't take a stand for myself? Because that's what this is. It's not me that changed Kat's life. It's Kat that changed her life. I had the process and the support team, but it's Kat who was the one doing the work and showing up even when she didn't feel like it. She's like, nah, I want my dream more than my fear. So I can hear my baby girl crying. So I'm going to rock and roll. But thank you so much. And please reach out to Kat. You know, don't harass her. She's pretty busy right now. But reach out to her if you're really resonating with her.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Thanks.
Bye.